the vast majority of people connected to the session today. So thanks for joining us. My name's Graham Bell. I'm the Director of Digital Education at Cranfield School of Management. We're going to be obviously going through information about the Supply Chain Management MSc course today, and I'll be handing over to Hendrik in just a moment to give you more detail on that. But just a bit of housekeeping before we start. The first thing you probably will have noticed as you joined is this session's being recorded. That's obviously so we can make sure that those of us or those people that weren't able to join us today are able to see the recording. We've put you all on mute, and really that's just to manage the sound and the noise and interruptions as we go through the session, because there's a lot of information to try and cover. If you do have any questions though, please do feel free to write in the chat, and if you really want to come off mute to ask your question, then again feel free to put that in the chat as well, although we do need to make you aware that you would be on the recording if you did that. Other than that, I hope you enjoy the session. I'll be here throughout the session taking your questions, but I'll hand over now to Hendrik.
Here, I'll just share my screen, just a second. So hopefully that works well.
Yeah, we can see your screen, Hendrik.
Right, everybody can. All right, that's good. So, well, hello everyone. It's nice that you join us here for the for this little webinar about our supply chain management MSc programs, or full-time programs. I'm the course director or program director for the supply chain management full-time programs. My name is Hendrik, and yeah, I take you through a little tour of what our full-time programs are all about, our modules, our sort of key activities that we do, and just things that you would experience as part of the cohort here. So first of all, a little bit about the university as a whole. I'm sure you are partially familiar with that because you looked at our websites already, but you may not know that we actually don't just have a school of management. Of course, our university has several schools, also looking into science, technology, engineering, and so forth. But of course, our supply chain management program is situated within the School of Management. Our school is part of an elite group of schools that holds the triple accreditation. This is only about 1% of business schools worldwide hold this triple accreditation. We're very proud as a school that we have strong links with industry, and that is reflected not just in our teaching, but also in our curriculum development, because this is all co-developed with an advisory board with practitioners and managers advising us on what content needs to be included. Yeah, we are also highly ranked by various institutions, with various organizations. You may have seen our newest QS rankings of our supply chain management programs, where we were ranked second in the UK. We believe we should have been ranked first, but probably next year. All right, this is who we are, and this is what we are not. We are not an undergraduate university, so this is postgraduate only. So it's a mature learning environment, and I'm sure this is exactly what you are looking for. We're not an ivory tower. We are not just about theories and techniques. The Cranfield ethos really is knowledge into action, and this is reflected throughout our supply chain management program. So we of course cover all the theory, but then we talk about how to apply it, and we like to bring a lot of supply chain practice into the classroom. All right, jumping now from the university overview into our supply chain community. We are called the Center for Logistics, Procurement, and Supply Chain Management. You can check us out, of course, on the Cranfield website. You can see all the faculty profiles. We are Europe's largest group of faculty specializing in logistics, procurement, and supply chain management. And over the years, I think it's fair to say that we have really been at the forefront of knowledge development in this area. This is reflected through our various publications, of course, books that you may have seen, and you may have even heard of some of the sort of large names in supply chain management that came out of Cranfield, such as Martin Christopher, of course, Ellen Harrison, Richard Wilding, So they're all very famous supply chain academics that used to teach at Cranfield or are still teaching at Cranfield. Okay, so we, of course, provide a range of programs. Those are the taught MSc programs, of course, that you are interested in, but we also do a lot of customized programs for organizations in the UK, but also across the world, really. Now, moving even closer to what you're interested in, those are our MSc programs. I'll start with our MSc in Logistics and Supply Chain Management. This is our flagship program, really. We've been working on this program for over 35 years. I think we're actually in, should be the 38th year now, so we're inching closer and closer to 40 years. So this, as I already mentioned, of course, is our flagship program, co-designed with senior logistics and supply chain professionals. And really our aim is, of course, to develop the next cohort, the next generation of logistics and supply chain management experts, professionals, to join the workplace and to be successful, really. That's our aim. We are accredited by CILT, CIPS, and ELA. In fact, we were the first MSc to be accredited by the European Logistics Association. And upon finishing the MSc, you can join these associations globally. You are fully qualified then to join, for example, CIPS, and become a member of this interest group, essentially. Okay, now this is our logistics program. I go into the details what we actually teach there in a second. We do also have the MSc in Procurement and Supply Chain Management, which was launched in 2016, very much because we saw the need in the marketplace that many people, many graduates are interested in joining the procurement side of supply chain management specifically. And hence we launched this program, which has really gone from strength to strength over the years. We started with less than 20 people in this program, and this year we have close to 40 people in our Procurement and Supply Chain Management MSc. So this is a growing MSc, really. And of course, this one is more catering towards if you know that you want to work in a procurement purchasing profession, then this is probably the MSc for you. It is the same accreditations apply here, so you will be entitled to join these accreditation bodies after finishing the MSc. The nice thing is that you actually have flexibility when you come to Cranfield, and let's say you are enrolled in the MSc in Logistics and Supply Chain Management, and after the first 1-2 months you decide, okay, actually I'm more interested in joining the Procurement and Supply Chain Management MSc, you have a little bit of flexibility there. So you can switch from one program to the other in the beginning stages of the MSc, that is. Okay, so keep that in mind, and that goes both ways. If you were enrolled for the Procurement MSc, then you could switch to the logistics side if you wanted to. Okay, so this is a really nice touch, I think. Now, what's the structure here? In order to pass the MSc, you will have to get 200 credits. Okay, these credits are, or you get these credits by passing core modules, and then we have elective modules, and of course at the end you also have to write a MSc thesis, which also accounts for a large chunk, that is 40% of your overall grade. But let's talk about the modules that you have. So across the two MSc, across the Logistics and the Procurement Management MSc, there's a lot of similarity because they're both supply chain management programs, and so we have to cover all the background of supply chain management. So here you can see a range of our core modules that are the same across both of these MScs. And of course, this covers everything from strategy and sustainability to principles of strategic procurement, accounting, freight transport, management, science techniques, and so forth. Okay, if you need, and I think I would encourage you to do so, check out our website. You can really read up on each individual module, see who the module leader is, and what the content and the learning outcomes are out of each module. All right, so it's a lot of detailed information there. Now, where the separation takes place is actually here. So on the top, we see the modules, the core modules that are distinct for the logistics side. This is physical network design and warehousing. So this is only for the logistics and supply chain management MSc. And at the bottom, we have the procurement and supply chain management MSc specific modules, supplier selection and evaluation, and the negotiation and contract management. And I think just by reading these titles, you already see the differentiation there, of course, where this is leading. Okay, so those are the core modules, but then you will also have a lot of choices after we finish all the core modules, and then we get into the electives. And we have currently 15 electives. These are always refreshed based on new developments in the area, really. I mean, 3 of these we just recently added. For example, Future of Digital Procurement is a brand new elective choice. Circular Supply Chains is another brand new elective choice. So we're really proud that we can offer 15 different electives, and you are free to choose 4 of them. Now, each year we get lots of requests, can I choose more than 4? So people are actually quite keen to have more than 4, but well, we are limited here, but you can always learn on your own time a little bit more about each of these areas. Okay, now if you're on the procurement side, of course, then you can choose a lot of these electives that are specific on procurement. If you're on the logistics side, choose the ones that are specific on logistics, but you are free to choose whatever you like out of these electives. So it's a great opportunity there. Okay, and I just want to give you one little snippet. So this is one of my electives. We can't do sort of a full lecture here, but we did a little video about the humanitarian logistics elective. And yeah, it's a few minutes long. I'll just play that for you so that you have sort of a rough idea of what the classroom environment and teaching at Cranfield looks like. Okay.
Humanitarian logistics is about organizing the distribution of supplies during natural disasters or emergency situations to the affected area and the local population. Logistics is actually one of the most important building blocks of disaster relief operations. It includes complex decisions with regard to overall resource requirements, sourcing and storage of supplies, transportation and tracking tools, and importantly, also how to coordinate a response across the various specialized agencies and the teams on the ground.
This was a very well-structured course with a perfect combination of theory and practical activities. During the class, we discussed about categorization of disasters, from rapid onset to complex disasters, and how the response differs across those categories. Also, disaster recovery plan, like when we do emergency planning and when we move to agile and lean supply chain. And it was not just a theory. We had these guest speakers who shared their amazing experience of what they did from the moment the disaster occurred to the moment when they delivered the humanitarian aid to the beneficiaries.
The simulation has evolved from about 15 disaster situations that I've been to, where in the warehouses of the airports nearest to the disaster, often you see complete chaos because a lot of people are arriving with goods and with search and rescue teams and with equipment, and the airport is just not coping with the quantity that's coming through. So we've evolved this game to try to show people what it's like, and that they don't have information and they don't have necessarily communication to find out what's going on.
In the classroom, we combine the theory on humanitarian aid and health supply chains with case studies of crisis events and targeted discussions. In order to bring this highly practical topic alive, we collaborate with many experts in the field. Apart from our Cranfield faculty, this year we had speakers from organizations such as People in Need, Crown Agents, DHL Humanitarian Affairs, and the United Nations World Food Programme. On the final day, we concluded with a disaster response simulation which puts the students in the driver's seat, that is, into the roles of logisticians in humanitarian aid.
The whole game was amazing itself. I really liked that the setup was very close to the reality with all the barriers, and we had to find our way through the chaos. You had to come up how to deliver your goods to the beneficiaries or where to source the equipment you needed. So we had to organize ourselves, prioritize tasks, and as a team leader to correctly distribute this task to the group members. And basically nobody will come and give you the guidelines. So you have to take the initiative yourself.
My key takeaway is definitely that people must be able to collaborate both internally but also externally. If our teams were collaborating instead of competing, we would be able to help the people in need faster.
Okay, so this is really just a short little snapshot of the humanitarian elective. Now, this is just one out of these 15 choices. I just put them up here again so that you can, of course, see. I mean, this you could clearly feel what the aim was of this particular elective. But of course, if you are more interested in, for example, big data or the circular supply chains or the outsourcing electives here, then you choose those, right? And they're all very much specifically targeted towards these knowledge areas. Okay, so we can discuss that further. Now, apart from our taught material, the theories, concepts, and all the simulations and practical activities that we do as part of the classroom, I would like to point out a few more things that makes our supply chain programs very special, I think. One of them is the personal development, is the whole team, the student cohort, very much a cross-cultural experience. I mean, this starts with our faculty, which comes from, actually haven't counted the nationalities, but it's a lot of different nationalities. Of course, we have faculty from the UK, but then from across Europe and really from across the world. And then this goes on to the student cohort, of course, which is very international as well. I show you a few statistics in a few slides time. You really have to work together in teams with a lot of group work. You have to assess situations, assess case studies, talk together in the groups and present this as well in the classroom, in the group. So really is this whole area of personal development. And then I'm quite proud actually of our faculty that they have very much a focus on individual attention with an open door policy. So you can knock on someone's door and ask questions as and if required. So there's no weekly surgery times as such. Very close relationship generally with faculty throughout the modules, but also then this continues in our thesis supervision, of course. Okay, and I'll show you a few more things that we do. Now I would like to point out, of course, that currently we're also impacted by the pandemic and the restrictions of that, but generally we try and of course make these activities a reality. Various social activities and learning events. One of the really big ones, important ones, are our study tours. So this is where we go to another European country in smaller groups of about 20 people, and we organize company visits in those destinations in order to get first-hand experience of what those companies are faced with, what are their problems currently, and how are they addressing them. Okay, I mean, you can see some of these locations in previous years. So to Austria, Belgium, Germany, Malta, Poland, Netherlands, Spain. So this is what we've done most recently. I've been for the last few years responsible for organizing the study tour to Germany, for example, and we go down to Stuttgart on that one and visit companies such as Mercedes-Benz, Bosch, Porsche, like these big organizations down there, but then also some sort of local smaller companies that are really sort of on the top of their game of what they do. You may not know their names, but they are sort of world leaders in their specific area. So really interesting experience, I think, very unique to our programs. And you can check these out in our blog. So you can check out our website, the student blog, so you can really read up what the students had to say in previous years and how they experienced these events. But actually, those blogs go across the various aspects of the program. We also do warehouse visits. Generally, this is coupled with our core module on warehousing in January, and we go and visit to warehouses in the local area. Now, you may not know this, but Cranfield is actually in this area, what we like to call the golden triangle in the UK. So you can basically reach about 90% of the UK population within sort of a 2.5 hour drive from the area around Cranfield, because we're nicely situated in the middle and we have all the main transportation routes quite close to us. So hence there's a lot of warehouses in the area. You can see here one of our warehouse visits to John Lewis. John Lewis, of course, a major UK-based retailer, but we also do visits to other facilities. You can see a few examples here. River Island is another sort of fashion retailer. Sainsbury is a sort of food supermarket retailer. XPO is, of course, a major logistics provider, and we, for example, visit their Adidas fulfillment center. Again, visit our warehouse visit blogs, go and check it out, and you can, read up for yourself what the students thought. Okay. Where would all this take you? Hopefully, I mean, we are quite confident that a degree from Cranfield will ultimately fast track your career. You can see some of the organizations and job roles that graduates from our supply chain MSc have gone on to work for, everything from large retailers such as Amazon to logistics providers such as DHL, food and beverage companies like Diageo, or big global companies such as Nike, Procter & Gamble, PwC, Shell. This is just really a snapshot. There I could probably fill this entire page here, of course, with the various company names. And on the right-hand side, you can see the different job roles that people have gone to, everything from consultancy to very much focused, sort of function-specific roles, such as procurement or supply and demand manager. But then also a lot of students have, for example, gone to the humanitarian sector and so forth. Okay, I think that Stephen will talk a little bit more about our career service, but we're also quite happy that we have this dedicated career service as part of our university that can help you with your career choices really going forward. And you can see some of the statistics, sort of how long it's been taken for people to find a job after graduation. And we can very much say that the vast majority of our graduates find a position fairly quickly. Okay. Class profile, this is from the most recent statistics. So this is our current class profile. And of course, we have Elaine here who is currently in our MSc. She will say a few more things. Split this year, male, female, very even, 56-44. Actually, last year, it was the reverse. Interestingly enough, we had I think it was exactly 56% female students. So, but overall, a very even split. You can see the age range, average age around 25, but really the age range is quite wide. So we have people in our full-time MSc coming straight from another degree from an undergraduate degree, but we also have lots of people that join the MSc after several years of working in a job role already. Number of nationalities this year is 14. Now, interestingly enough, the previous year was 28. So we are, of course, impacted by the current situation, but still, even this year, very international cohort overall. Cohort size of about 169 this year. And what we do in our teaching, we split up this large cohort into streams if required, so that we can work with a smaller group size that allows them for group work and sort of in-depth discussions and so forth. All right, so this is also all on our website. How did we teach this year? This may be one of your questions. How do we deal with the COVID situation? Now, we actually had our university, Cranfield, had very, very low numbers in comparison to other areas of the world, really. So we've been quite lucky in that regard, and we have been able to promise essentially to say, okay, we want to deliver a minimum of 70% of content face-to-face delivery this year. Of course, we are very much hopeful that now in the coming time that this will return back to normal, to sort of a normal classroom environment. But how do we deal with this? Well, we taught in smaller streams to allow for social distancing, and then we had also live streamed lectures, so we didn't rely on recordings like many other universities, but we really even the online content is all live and in person via Zoom or MS Teams, for example. Okay, so this is how that worked. Okay, we can discuss it in more detail if you want to know. So yeah, overall, of course, we're looking forward to meeting you. Regular start date, September, end of September, and yeah. Check out our websites, the logistics website, the procurement website, a lot of information to find there. And yeah, so I hand over to back to Graham, I think. But
thanks, Hendrik. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there is one question already in the chat, which I think probably worthwhile perhaps you just addressing now. The question is about experience, really, and the person says they've got over 12 years experience in the air freight industry. And do you think the courses that you've been talking about would be suitable for people with that level of experience?
I mean, certainly, it is certainly suitable. I think the question you have to ask yourself is whether, because we have another MSc which is called the Executive MSc in Logistics and Supply Chain Management, which is part-time. It runs over 2 years, and generally within that cohort, we have more people that are quite experienced, that have several years, like you have several years of experience, and they do the course part-time. Now, if you want to finish within 1 year, and this is a real benefit of our MSc, of course, it is 1 year focused. It is pretty much full on. I'm not gonna lie, like this is 1 year full-time, a lot of material. But then you're done after 1 year. So this is, of course, the great part about our full-time MSc. But if you're interested in also exploring the other option, I would also check out the Executive MSc in Logistics and Supply Chain Management.
Thanks, Hendrik. There's a couple more questions coming in as well, actually. So just carry on here just for a minute or two. In terms of the cohort size, do you have any kind of sense at the moment where the cohort's likely to be?
Well, not really. It's not the exact number, because we never know until it actually starts. Over the last few years, the cohort size has been inching closer to 200, but not quite there. So this year is 169. The year before, I think we had 184. And the previous years were similar. So I would expect it to be sort of in the range between 150 to 200.
Brilliant, thank you. And just one more, and before we go to Sam, could you just expand a little bit more about some of the study materials that are available?
Okay, of course, the lecturers, the module leaders, they prepare a list of material that is essential for each module. I don't know what this noise is, by the way. This is, okay. That is essential for each module. This is provided to you via our online virtual learning environment. So you're getting whatever the journal articles, the case study material, but also this includes access to software, for example, for some of these simulations and sort of data analysis tools. In addition, we have a range of books that every student gets upon arrival, essentially. So those are hard copies of books, but if required, we also have the some online books as well that can be accessed. And then, of course, we have the whole range of the Cranfield library system, where you can basically access any book or journal, article, or report on supply chain management ever written. So this is very comprehensive from that point of view.
Brilliant, thanks, Hendrik. So there are some more questions, but if it's okay, we'll hold those for the Q&A so that we can make some progress through. So I'm going to hand over to Sam now. Sam, are you there?
Hi, Graham. Yes, thank you. Yes, my name is Sam Goodwin. I am from the Student Immigration and Funding team for Cranfield University. So we look after all things to do with funding opportunities for your course, so scholarships and student loans, and also visas and immigration. So I'm here today to help with any questions that you have. So please feel free to ask any questions that you would like about those subjects in the chat. I'll be able to help you with those. Similarly, you can contact us on the email. So we'll post those emails in the chat as well, so you have them: studentfunding@cranfield.ac.uk and studentimmigration@cranfield.ac.uk. If you contact the student funding email address, you'll receive an up-to-date list of all the current funding opportunities that you may be able to apply for. If you are looking for funding, my advice would be to check out all the resources on the Cranfield website. If you go to your course page, there is a fees and funding section which will include the most relevant opportunities for your course. Also, if you're an international student, we have many country pages. So there may be a country page for your country, which has specific information for people from your country in coming to Cranfield to study. It does also include funding options as well. So have a look there to see if there's any specific options for you. Similarly, we have a lot of information about visas, how to apply for a visa. If you do need a student visa, then you'll need a CAS, which is a confirmation of acceptance of studies. This will be issued by our admissions team, and they will issue this to you when you have an unconditional offer. So that's the first step, is to make sure that you can get an unconditional offer. When you have that later this year, probably in a few months' time, the admissions team will start processing the CAS task, and they will send that to you on your EVE account. So you'll receive a CAS task that you will need to complete and submit. And after that, the admissions team will issue the CAS to you. So if you've got any questions about the conditions on your offer or the CAS task, then the admissions team is the best team to speak to. If you've got any questions at all about visas or how to apply for your visa, then please contact us at the Student Immigration and Funding team. So with the student visa, you can apply for your visa up to 6 months before your course start date. So it's not possible to apply now for your visa if you're starting in October or September or October. So the admissions team will process CAS tasks. I think there's a question there in the chat. It's likely to be about April or May that processing for CAS will start, and then you'll still have plenty of time to apply for your visa. that's it from me. Like I said, I'll be here, able to answer any questions you have in the chat and in the Q&A at the end.
Fantastic, thanks, Sam. Okay, so we're going to move to one of our existing students at the moment, Elaine. Elaine, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Let me share my screen. So, hi everyone, I'm Elaine. So last year I was a full-time MBA student here in Cranfield, and this year I'm a procurement and supply chain student. So briefly, background is I have over 10 years working experience in non-supply chain domain, but I'm totally new to the supply chain area. And last year I live on campus, and this year I'm not lucky enough, so I'm live off campus. So overall, like from an experienced student, I could say like I have enjoyed this learning experience absolutely. So as Hendrik mentioned, we are the big cohort, so it's a big family, and our students' professional background is very diverse. You could meet like very matured people like me, or you will also have a lot of chance meet with younger students. And also we have like smaller stream, so every stream has like 40 something students, and so the class is small enough to you are able to like interact with the professor, lectures, just like be active. And sometimes we just worry like not enough interaction actually on the class. So don't worry, you don't have the chance to talk to professors. And also we have the learning team. It's usually we have like 5-6 students in one learning team. So small enough you could work together on the project and discuss the more focused topic. And some module we also assign different team for specific module, like when we run the simulation. So talking about the experience in class, and so interaction, as mentioned, there's no problem. Like it's a lot of interaction with professors, lecturers in class and after class. And the professor lecturers, they are always like very friendly, very helpful, and willing to answer any question. And you can like this year we have more online, some online class. So you could also email professors, and they are always like very they always respond very quickly in my experience, at least. And so we have the role play simulation for several class, and also like we experience the different role in supply chain, operation manager, supply chain manager, buyer side, and also we run the e-auction simulation. And now we are going to have the project management simulation next week. And there's a lot of case study in class. So even you are very like totally new to supply chain, I don't think I believe you will like easily to pick up the knowledge and the experience, how you gonna expect for the supply chain. So don't worry, like of course like it's not an easy course, so you have to do your homework, you have to prepare ahead, and therefore you can really enjoy all these studies. And besides, we have a SAS team, and also you have your course rep. And so anytime you have any problems, if you are not sure to direct contact like professor lecturers, you can always go to SAS team and also the course rep and help you to like on most of the things, I guess. And also career service, in my experience, as long as you are active enough and you are prepared ahead, so the career service is great, and help you like tailor resumes and cover letters, so and help you prepare the interviews and the workshops. So all these you will have chance to experience. And talking about the learning materials, so we have I have the 3 books for procurement, and also 3 books for logistics. And also we have like this is the books from the university that give us for everyone. And so we have 2 libraries, and one is dedicated for the management student. Another library is for all the student. So, and also online materials is sufficient. So I don't think it's a problem. And we have different clubs, events, I will mention later. So talking about learning experience, like before COVID and the current in COVID, there's some certain points you don't see like enough interaction with the professors, but overall experience, I don't see much differences. So talking about living experience, if you are lucky enough staying campus, though you are congrats, and you will have great accommodations and all the, sorry, what happened? Yeah, so on campus there's sports hall, pubs and the restaurants, etc., etc. Yeah, so okay, yeah, of course, like out of a campus, so the village is nearby. I'm living in the village, and also the farms, like you have the forest very nearby. It's like a running experience. If you have people like me like to run, like you can just run to the forest, and the nearby town, city is Milton Keynes and the Bedford. It's also like 15 minutes or 30 minutes bus distance. So this is more like detailed activities you will experience. So on the left side, it's like more supply chain students activities. So you have the you should have the chance to visit this distribution centers, but I don't have the luck yet because of the COVID. And so we will have a lot of webinars. If I remember correctly, at least every 2 weeks we will have one webinar. So you could like enjoy different knowledge from different perspectives. And also we have companies come to us, especially for supply chain students, and give us chance for this internship program. So on the right side, so if you think you have more energy and you can join more activities, so like we have a lot of competitions. So one important competition is this Unilever and the Cranfield innovation activity. Then also you will have chance to, so this is here is the Bethany Center. So they are specially developed the entrepreneurship experience for you. So you will have chance to listen to a lot of successful entrepreneur speakers. And also there's a like a workshop prepared for you to help you develop your skill set for the entrepreneurship. And also, I also a part of the consulting club, so develop like consulting skills. And this is like more professional activities. Then, yeah, so this is like when you want to enjoy your life, you have the sports hall. And this is the last year we have the Halloween party in the pub in campus. So I also like say if you are also participant the half marathon in Milton Keynes. Yeah, and so we have 3 or 4 restaurants like this one. So currently we are like keep a COVID distance. And also if you want to enjoy some midnight snack, we have this food trunk in campus as well. Yeah, and so just remember we have the university provides a wide range of service. So once you register, just visit the internet and check out what else there. So don't miss out anything. So you will not miss out anything if you just like be active and pay attention on the information on the internet. Yeah, that's all from my side. Thank you.
Thanks, Elaine. Okay, so we're going to move to Stephen now. Stephen, I think you're going to talk about the careers service, and I think it might as well be worth covering some of the things around potential working opportunities? There's been a couple of questions in the chat around that as well.
Absolutely. Okay, well, hi everybody. My name's Stephen Crabb. I'm one of the career development managers, and I've been kind of established within Cranfield since sort of May 11, so a good sort of 10 years coming up this year in terms of engaging with students of all levels across the university, and predominantly engaged with the management students and logistics supply chain, both the experienced and the more entry level. So hopefully I can answer some of your questions through the chat today as well. But I wanted to give you a bit of an overview of where I sit and the team, how we operate and support you. So in terms of our team makeup, I sit within a professional team of individuals from ex-recruiters, HR professionals, career coaching psychologists and associates, through to account manager, employee engagement side. So we're here to support you both pre-arrival, during your studies, and post-completion as a part of our lifelong continuation service. So I'm just going to show you a little slide, give you a bit of an overview and talk around this. Let's just bring this up. Okay. Can you all see that? Is that coming through, Graham? Yep, perfect. Okay, so in terms of the pre-arrival side, so we work with a CV analytic critiquing tool called VMOC. So if you can see on the bottom right hand side here, about giving you real-time feedback on the practical development of your CV. And within UK and most application processes globally, you'll go through a formal process of submitting your interest to apply for roles. And the first part of that process is obviously developing a CV. The reason why we get you to do that so soon and engage you pre-arrival and give you access to this resource is because a lot of you may be considering variable entry routes. If, say, you're looking for a transition, if it maybe it's at more experienced end, or maybe you have limited experience, come from your first degree, expanding your knowledge and commercial acumen through the undertaking of a specialist master's with us, but looking for that first step. Well, a lot of those roles are advertised as graduate or leadership biased programs, internships and off-cycle alike. And with that, some of those deadlines happen really early on. So we're really keen for you to start that process and be ready so that you can start to make those early submissions so that you don't miss out the opportunity to be considered. And to give you an idea, some of the programs may well open up their application processes from as early as September and October. And that's the point when you arrive. So we will go through those processes of enhancing beyond this system, but that's probably the first thing I'd like to draw your attention to. So where do we go next? So in terms of throughout the course of the year, you will have the opportunity to engage with us on one-to-one coaching appointments. Predominantly in that first term, we'll do a lot of initial engagement around steering and building and developing career planning strategies, how to align those with your future career aspirations, but predominantly the first part of those conversations are geared around application and CV development. So we will help move you beyond that system to make sure that what you read is, what you write for your CV reads well in terms of flow of content, well-structured delivery, articulates your skills, capabilities that align to some of those future jobs that you wish to apply to. We run those all year round. We were obviously running them face-to-face. We hope that will return in March. So in a safe environment, the opportunity to engage, if you wish, either face-to-face or virtually in a similar capacity as we are now. They will run at variable times each day of the week for you to log in, register, and engage with us on a one-to-one about your individual needs at that moment in time. So I'll talk to you about how you would do that in a moment, but in terms of the other resources, activities, the wealth of information that we supply throughout the course of the year, you can see on the wheel here, we run a host of independent workshops that Elaine kindly highlighted in terms of CV development, accelerating your CV, interview skills, presentation skills. So anything around the general engagement and networking side, we have external hosts that will give you guidance and advice and hints and tips how to be active, build your brand, your presence, your network in your areas of interest on professional networking tools, things like LinkedIn, for example. But we'll talk to you about other mechanisms and things to be aware of so you're confident and ready when you reach that point. we run a host of employer engagement sessions. So an opportunity for you to engage either with a returning alum, with a business recruiter, a direct partner, or new businesses that we're engaging with constantly. That will be either through the forum of a virtual event. So this year we're running a logistics, supply chain and transportation as biased event. So our events right now are becoming more focused and industry specific, and we run specifically relating to your cohorts in and around that arena, and it will be on the 4th of March this year. And I think last year it was about the same sort of time frame. So we'll have a specific event dedicated to yourselves and other courses that overlap, of course. And then obviously we'll run other themed events that you'd be very welcome to attend. We also host guest workshops, evening drop-in sessions, evening presentations. Could be an alumni returning to give you an overview of the work that they do in the company that they work for. Maybe it's an industry topical bias event. Maybe it is about an alumnus coming back and talking you through the process about how they made their transition into the role that they are now, and a really good point of engaging and networking and professional insight to help you leverage your applications should you wish to pursue a similar role in that type of company. So we run those all year round, as well as open drop-in sessions. So that's kind of a bit of an overview of where we are in terms of the coaching, the employer engagement, the networking events, the open resources, publications, bite-sized video tutorials, everything that you'll have access to whilst you're with us. How you will access that is through a talent management platform, a CRM database. It's called Simplicity. If you haven't heard of it before, it's heavily utilized across universities and business schools, renowned throughout the UK and globally. But essentially, your open one-stop point for engaging with all the activities that we deliver, but equally for you to search for companies, for jobs, set up favorite alerts, specialize your profile so that you're receiving information about jobs that could be of interest specifically to you, but also to sign up to all the other events and, of course, the coaching one-to-one appointments and recruitment fairs that we run all year round. And then beyond that, we obviously run our continuation service, where you will have the open opportunity to come back to us. And obviously I've had the pleasure of working with Elaine when she was with us on the MBA, and continuing to work with us and members of the wider team going forward while she's on the logistics supply chain program. So like yourselves, should you be maybe returning to a prior employer or going into further education, we are here as and when you need our support. So that's kind of an open offer, really. Engage with us when you need us. But hopefully I can answer all your questions and anything additional that's come up in the chat. I was aware there was one or two, Graham. Did you want me to pick up on those, or did you want to highlight any specific themes?
Yeah, no, I think if we move through the questions now, because we're running a little bit short on time. So
okay, great.
There'll be some other things I'm sure that we'll pick up. But thanks, Stephen. Okay. So the first. Were you done, Stephen, or do you want to move on to something else?
No, I was fine.
Cool.
Go into Q&A.
No worries. Great stuff. Thanks. So I think this one's probably for Hendrik. First question is about dissertations and how people will determine the dissertation topic.
Okay, yeah, I mean, we just actually had our thesis briefing session with our current cohort, and Elaine was there as well. So, I mean, we do have a lot of flexibility when it comes to the dissertations at the end, or the thesis projects, as we like to call them here. So we essentially run 3 different modes, if you will. So one of them are company-sponsored thesis projects. So we reach out. We have a lot of company contacts ourselves, of course, and we reach out to companies to sort of, talk to them. They have a specific problem, issue that they want researched. And then we connect the student with that with the company, and then they work on the thesis project together. It's a 4-month time period starting from the end of April, and then the submission is beginning of September. Okay, so those are the sort of company-sponsored ones. Then we have also Cranfield-led projects. So we as faculty create essentially sort of thesis projects. Usually these are very current topics, things around supply chain 4.0, for example, but just very sort of good research projects that you can do more as a desk-based project. So you may still need to reach out to some experts in the field and so on, but essentially this is more manageable also remotely, and you can do this with the support from the library, and of course you have a crime field supervisor. So those are crime field-led projects. And then we also like to encourage our students, of course, to define their own project, either by reaching out to company contacts. So if you just came out of a job or you have good company contacts and you can do a project with them, we are supportive of that. Some students have a family business and they would like to do a research project. Now, it always needs to be a research project with the theory and all these things. So we are a university, but we like to make it as practical as possible. So if you have a family-based project, more than happy to entertain those ideas. And then also some students say, well, we would like to define our own project. You work with us, you see what the focus needs to be. We make sure that it's a proper research topic, right? That fits into our MSc. And then you can define your own thesis project. So yeah, a lot of flexibility in that regard. So you just need to make the most of it.
Brilliant, thanks, Hendrik. There's a question here, which is, I guess, the opposite of one of the questions you had earlier, really. So one of the questions is around whether, if somebody doesn't have any experience in supply chain management, whether this is a good course for them to help them find a position in supply chain management after they graduate.
I mean, most certainly. It's how I like to think about it. Like we go through basically everything. We cover the whole area of supply chain management. We start with sort of the foundations of it, and then we get more and more specific as we move along. And so even if you don't have any immediate supply chain experience, I think you will pick that up through the modules, of course, through the content, but also through the engagement with faculty and your fellow students. And you just, basically we try to bring everybody up to the same level. And I think also what we shouldn't forget is supply chain management is so diverse. So even if you have someone who says, oh, I have 10 years experience in supply chain management, well, this is great, but probably they worked in one function of supply chain management. They may have worked in the procurement side, or they may have worked in transport and sort of in organizing truck transport. So they wouldn't necessarily know how exactly warehousing operations work, okay, or what humanitarian logistics is all about. So supply chain management is really a wide field, right? And we try and cover it as much as possible. So to make it short, yes, I think it caters either way. Of course, someone who doesn't have any experience at all may have to do some more background work on their own time. And we give the reading material support as required for that.
Brilliant, thanks. And actually, that's a really good point to move into the next couple of questions that have come in around. Is there a kind of an advanced reading list so people can get their head around the type of things they need to be looking at in advance?
That's a good question. I mean, well, of course, we have the detailed module descriptors. We have our sort of standard set of textbooks that we use. Within each module, you have very much dedicated reading lists. So, for example, I teach the warehousing module, and within that, I recommend a certain set of specific resources on warehousing. So there's a lot of reading that you could engage in. Now, what I generally recommend in preparation, though, is actually to sort of focus on what Cranfield is all about. Like, we are about knowledge into action. So we do a lot of reading when you are on the course. You do get all the material to prepare for the modules and to really know each topic in depth. But what is great when coming into the program, and actually that helps with all the modules, is just to have a feel for what's happening in industry. All right. So in terms of preparation, I would really say, well, go out and see, what companies are doing globally. Like, what are they doing? How are they developing their supply chains? There's a lot of interest groups online content. There's a lot of great reports coming out of companies such as DHL. They have a specific research division, so you can read up on those reports. So there are sort of trend reports on supply chain management, new technologies that are coming online, and all these things, like being in tune with what the supply chain world is doing currently, the problems they have, the solutions that are being proposed, really then helps with discussions in all the modules, across all the modules. I hope that makes sense. Yeah.
Thanks, Hendrik. So there's a couple more questions. Are you okay just to field a couple more, Hendrik?
Yeah, well, that's why I'm here. So.
Oh, great stuff. All right. Didn't know whether how pushed for time you were, but that's brilliant. So the first question or the next question is around whether we have any tie-up with the DHL Innovation Centre and in particular research around automation and digitization in logistics.
Well, I mean, we do have a lot of expertise in-house on supply chain 4.0. So we have several of our faculty, of course, who are engaging in research in that specific area. Now, we do have engagement with DHL in from different areas. I mean, DHL is such a big organization. So, for example, you saw my contact from DHL Humanitarian Affairs, Chris Weeks, in the humanitarian elective module in that video. We've had projects with DHL, well, different arms, essentially, different areas of DHL. I mean, it's a huge organization. So we've had different company-based projects, thesis projects with DHL over the years. And we do use a lot of their material. And it's actually interesting to know that one of my former students that I have worked with quite closely works in the DHL Research Center. Okay, so she's now heading the American division of DHL Research. So it's an interesting connection there.
Thanks. And one final question, Hendrik, is about dissertations and how the topics are determined. Are people given a list, or can they determine that more independently?
Yes, so we create a large list. Usually it's somewhere in the region of about 200 different projects that are on the list. It's a range of very practical topics, more theoretical topics, and it really covers the whole range of well, the topics that we discussed throughout the program. So, you know, if you want to, the thesis projects really is a chance to engage in one specific area or an overlap of various sort of topics within supply chain management and say, okay, this is really what I'm very interested in, and I would like to get in-depth knowledge and explore that one area within supply chain management in depth. So it's a great opportunity, I think, to do that. So yeah, we provide a large list of ideas, but as always, I would really say, you know, if you have, because we do have this option of creating a project, or you have the option of creating your own project, it needs to fit within our topics. Like, you know, it's supply chain management. You can't write an MSc thesis on marine biology all of a sudden. But if you come to us and say, okay, I would really like to work on blockchain technology and its application in supply chain management, and I have some contacts to get in touch with and get some more in-depth information, well, brilliant, right? If, for example, you would like to work in that area after leaving or after graduating, then this is the perfect starting point.
Thanks again, Hendrik. Thank you. And one last question, which might be a really quick one, actually. Are the company projects open to all students or just a limited number of students?
No, they're open to all students. So what we do is now the company projects that we source, those are open to everyone, and we advertise them openly. Now, a lot of these companies want to interview sort of out of the student cohort, right? So they want to select basically who they want to work with. Now, this is fair enough, of course. You know, it's the company sponsors the project, so they want to make sure that they are working with someone that they're comfortable with. So for those, there's an interview process, and basically we are not then directly involved in, of course, in choosing who the student gets to work, or who the company gets to work with. If it's a student source project, so if you reach out and you say, okay, I have actually a contact in, I don't know, in a consulting company or in my my family business, and I would like to do my project there, then of course that is yours. This is sourced by yourself, and well, nobody's going to take it away from you. Okay, so and in addition, one more aspect to mention. Some companies have specific requirements for sort of the student. For example, last year we had a project where the company specifically stated the student needs to be able to speak French. Okay, so we have that quite frequently where it's this was a humanitarian project which was in Africa, and those African countries were French speaking, so you had to speak the language. Okay, we had the same with other language requirements. Chinese, we had another company that said, okay, the student needs to be able to speak Chinese. So we get those specific requirements. Yeah, then you just have to make sure that you meet those. I mean, you wouldn't be very happy with a project where you have to speak French and you don't know the language. So that of course doesn't work.
Brilliant. Thanks, thanks, Hedrick. So I think we're out of questions now. So I will thank everybody that's been on the call today. Thank you to all of our speakers. Thank you for the time. Thank you to everybody who's engaged with us this morning and asked questions. They've been great questions. I hope we've managed to answer them for you. If there are any further questions, then please feel free to get in contact with us. There's been a list of contact details going through in the chat, so we'll leave this webinar open just for a few minutes more so people can scroll back through the chat if they want to find those email addresses again. And we hope to see you all at Cranfield sometime soon. So please take care and see you soon.